Okay, welcome back to Mr. Hassan's Maths channel. I'm now answering question number 16 from the February-March 2022 IGCSE Cambridge Paper 2 Extended. This is from the syllabus of 0580. It's also now the same as 0980, the syllabus, which is just the same paper, but just they grade it from 9 to 1 instead of A star to whatever. So it's the same questions that come up anyway, so exactly the same, just the title at the front is different and this code is different. Now anyway, question number 16 here is to do with straight line graphs. They give you this grid and 2 points marked on the grid according to axes. It says A is a point to -6, and B is a point -2, -3, as we can see here. Find the equation of the straight line L that passes through the point A and B. Give your answer in the form y equals mx plus c. All right, we don't have to draw anything here, but I'm just going to draw it to illustrate. We're finding the equation of the line that passes through points A and B. Okay, we're finding the equation of the line that passes through these 2 points. That's what we're trying to find. The equation of that line that passes through these 2 points. Okay. Now, by drawing the line, we can already see something that we can confirm later on when we do our calculations. Okay, it doesn't say how we should find this thing, but I'll explain in a minute. So to find the equation of a straight line, okay, we have to give the answer in the form y equals mx plus c. What we have to understand is we need two things. To find the equation of a straight line, we need two pieces of information. One of those pieces of information is the gradient of the line, and the gradient of the line is given the symbol m. So that's the m in this formula, y equals mx plus c. And the second thing we need is called the y-intercept, which is a place where the line passes through the y-axis, which is called c in the formula. Now I can see from my diagram, just by drawing the line, that the value of c is equal to -7. Okay, now if they did not give us the diagram, we can still calculate that. So I'm going to show you how to calculate it as well. Right, so first of all, let's look at the gradient. The gradient is equal to the change in y between those 2 points divided by the change in x. All right, so it doesn't matter where you start from. I can start from point A or start from point B, but I must be consistent. Like my numerator, I must have the same starting point. So for example, if I start from point A, my change in y, so I'll put y, I'll write it like this: ya minus yb. It has to also be xa minus xb. Common mistakes here, people, they put the x coordinates on the top and the y coordinates underneath. No, it must be the y coordinates on the top and the x coordinates underneath when you're finding the gradients. Rise over run. The y change in y tells you the rise, and the change in x tells you the run. So you have 5 minus. Now here's another place where people make mistakes. You got to take away this from 5. So you got to take away -3 from 5. So this will give you 5 minus -3 over, and then you're going to have x, which is -6, minus, and again -2. Okay, so you've got to be careful about the signs. So this is going to give you 5 minus -3, which is 5 plus 3, which is 8, and -6 minus -2, which is -6 plus 2, which is -4. So that gives you -2. So we can see that the gradient is equal to -2. All right, so we can write y equals -2x minus 7. That will be our formula. Right, we didn't have to calculate c because we could find it by drawing this line. However, I'll show you how to calculate it in case you didn't know. Okay, what we can do is we can use our equation of the straight line. We can use it in two ways. Well, I'll show you the way that they intend for us to use it here. It's probably easier. Y equals mx plus c. You can now substitute any of these 2 points into this equation to find what c is. You can choose any 2 points. Right, for example, if I put -6, 5 in here, all right, I know m now is -2. I know y is 5. M is -2. Right, so I have 5 equals -2, and I know x is -6. Remember, this is your x value, this is your y value. X is -6 plus c. So if I calculate this, I'll have 5 is equal to, that's going to be 12 plus c. Therefore c equals 5 minus 12, which is -7. So we can say c equals -7, and that's exactly what we found here by just drawing the line. And it doesn't matter which point you use. I could use the point -2, -3, and you see that gives you the same value. So you have y is -3, m is negative 2, y equals mx plus c. X is negative 2 here as well, and plus c. So you have negative 3 is equal to 4 plus c. So you subtract 4 from both sides there. So c is equal to negative 3. Take away 4. So c equals negative 7. So it doesn't matter which point you use, you'll get negative 7 as c. But in this particular question, what's probably more sensible thing for you to do is to actually join those 2 points together, okay, and see where it hits the y-axis. And if you want to confirm, you can confirm, and that's fine. So there's the answer to part A. Y equals minus 2x minus 7. Then part B says find the equation of the line that is perpendicular to L and passes through the origin. So you want to find a line which is passing through the origin and it's 90 degrees to this line L. Okay, so something like this. That's what we need to find. It passes through the origin and it's perpendicular, means it cuts it at 90 degrees. Okay, now what do we know about lines which are perpendicular to each other? Okay, if this is L, and this is, let's call this L dash. So L dash, okay, its gradient, the gradient of L dash, okay, times the gradient of L is equal to negative 1. The gradients of perpendicular lines are negative reciprocals. Their product is negative 1. So if I know that the gradient of line 1 is equal to negative 2, that means the gradient of our line is equal to the negative reciprocal. So negative 2 is like negative over 1. You change its sign so it becomes positive and you turn it upside down. So we know that, and we also know it passes through the origin. Okay, so we know it goes through the point 0, 0. So we know that the y-intercept straight away is 0. If it passes through the origin, then its y-intercept is 0. So we have the equation of the line just by looking at its gradient. So we can say y equals a half times x plus 0. Okay, because y equals mx plus c. I know m is equal to positive a half and c is equal to 0 because it passes through the origin. So we can just write the answer y equals a half x. And there's the answer to part B of this question from February, March 2022. This is the IGCSE paper. This question is all about straight line graphs and perpendicular lines, finding the equation of a line. Okay, this is pretty easy because you could just draw it to find the y-intercept. But anyway, other questions from this paper, paper 2 of February, March 2022, can be found in the playlist appearing in this area over here. Other questions from this topic of straight line graphs, IGCSE straight line graphs, can be found in this playlist over here. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking on the link in the middle. Thank you for watching and see you soon.